Life is a casino. We don't think, we just hit them off with C-notes. And you can bet it all. I'ma be the last one standing tall. Joey Merlino.
What's up, G?
Life is a casino. We don't think, we just hit them off with C-notes. And you can bet it all. I'ma be the last one standing tall. Joey Merlino.
With Joey Merlino.
Welcome back to episode 107, The Skinny, with Joey Merlino and Little Snuff. Today we have a special guest on the podcast, our buddy Matthew Bowyer, who is all over the internet right now. I mean, the story's been out for a while now. ESPN broke the story. You've been doing a whole bunch of stuff on social media. How you doing today, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
How you doing, Matt? Thanks for coming on.
I'm doing. Thank you for having me, man. I'm just getting ready. I got about 11 days before I report to Lompoc Federal Prison. So just trying to tie up all the loose ends. You know, you've been through it.
Right.
It's not easy, trying to make sure the family's all set and everything's covered before you go away.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. You got 11 in the wake up. You'll be home in 3 months. You'll be fine. You'll be in a halfway house, believe me.
I think you're right. I'm hoping so, my friend.
Joe, you have any advice to him before he goes away? Like, what he should do and what he shouldn't do?
He's going to a camp. It's like it's like being in Aruba for 3 months. You relax, you work out, you fucking work on your tan, get a nice tan. No, you'll be fine there. Just don't talk to too many people. They're all fucking rats in there to try to set you up. But I'm telling you, you'll be home in 3 months. 3 months.
I love it.
You'll be in a halfway
I can't wait,
house.
man. I can't wait to get back to my wife and kids. I'll just, I'm in decent shape, but I'll use it as an opportunity to get, shredded up and just focus on my mind, write another book and read and just, prepare mentally for when I come out the plans I have. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah. I think most of the camps got weights, so you'll have weights. You'll be in listen, it'll add 10 more years to your life. Jail preserves you.
It's true, though. You're right.
That's funny.
Everyone says that you get younger when you go to prison.
No, you do. Listen, you're in bed 8 o'clock at night. We used to get locked in. You're in bed 8. You get up early. You work out. You eat good. No smoking. No drinking. It preserves you. That's why I look 42.
Well,
That's why
you look young.
I'm 63. I'm 63. I look better than Snuff. Fucking Snuff looks like he's 70.
Oh, God.
Snuff's been having too much fun.
Yeah, I need a camp. I need to go away for 3 months then. I got to preserve myself.
You should go to one of them the fat farms.
Yeah, fat farms, yeah. So, Matt, I'm sure a lot of people do know who you are, but the story that broke, everybody wants to know really what happened. Shohei Ohtani is probably the biggest and the best baseball player to ever walk this earth. So your name is involved with Shohei Ohtani. Walk us through how this happened.
So I was at a poker game in 2021. I used to, be friendly with a lot of the Angels baseball players, and I played golf with them. And obviously, was taking wagers from a few of them. And my operation, my sports betting operation, was kind of getting bigger and bigger based on when you have that group and network of celebrities and athletes, they start referring you, people in that realm. And so as my business got bigger, I started kind of hanging out with a little bit more of those type of people. And anyway, long story short, I was invited to I'm going to call it a home game. It was an after party after the Padres played the Angels in San Diego. And I went to their team hotel, and they had a private poker game in basically, the little conference rooms that you could rent if you're staying in the hotel.
Yeah. And
there was about maybe 4 or 5 ball players, maybe, first base coach, third base coach, and probably about 8 or 9 regular Joes, so to speak. And me being one of those. And my buddy was there. And he wasn't playing, and we were all playing poker, small stakes, buying a couple grand, nothing crazy. And next thing you know, Ipe Mizuhara, the interpreter for Shohei Ohtani, was putting in sports bets on his phone. So my buddy said, "Hey, Matt does that." And he proceeded to, talk to him a little bit and gave him a small account basically that night. It was for $1,000 per game and an $8,000 credit line, a very basic small account. So he put him under my website. And within a few weeks, we were off and running to some really big numbers because he maxed out the account, $8,000, pretty much within 2 or 3 days, asked for a credit extension. Of course, him being an interpreter for Shohei, I wasn't worried about payment. So we moved him to 40,000, and then he blew that out pretty quickly. Then we moved it up to 300,000. And that's when I got involved because, I was letting my friend who was an agent for me run him for them because it was his customer.
Yeah.
And then once it got to the bigger numbers, I pretty much handled all the bigger customers for the obvious reasons. I wanted to have control over the customer, making sure that I monitor their play and really just customer service and have that relationship. So when it was 300,000, I took it over, and he ran that up to 300,000 pretty quickly. So then, of course, it was time to get paid. He immediately wired the money, and then he asked me for 500,000. Well, even though he's an interpreter, I didn't really question anything. My job was to vet the customer from day one, which my agent did. Knowing that it was Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, I wasn't really worried about the relationships I had within the Angels baseball players, etc., about giving out credit. So when I gave him 500,000, he blew the 500,000, and then he wired it right away. So for me, everything was going kosher. Clearly, I made $800,000, and
he clearly couldn't win a game.
No, he was terrible. I mean, he bet soccer. 80% of the bets were soccer. A little bit of not baseball. I almost said baseball. A little bit of football and basketball. Never bet any baseball. I made sure of that. Anytime I had an athlete that was betting, I made sure they would bet on their own sport, because clearly that would have brought some serious attention to me. And I didn't want the integrity of the game to ever be part of my operation.
Yeah.
So that being said, he was never betting baseball, and we made it clear to him not to do that, of course. But he had no intention of doing that anyway. That going further, about maybe, I'm going to say 2 months in the relationship now, he asked for a $2 million credit line. I gave it to him because he wired me 800,000, and now he owed me. It was time for another payment. He wired me 500,000. So the wire comes in, and again, I was debanked at almost every bank across the country, so the wires weren't coming to me directly. So my friend calls me and says, "Hey man, are you sitting down?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "The wire just came in." I said, "Great." I said, "Let's go to Vegas." He says, "Well, before we go to Vegas, you might want to sit down and really think about what I'm going to tell you." I said, "What's that?" He said, "It was from Shohei Ohtani."
Wow.
And I said, "Holy shit." That was, to me, the first instinct was, that's great. I have the richest guy in the world, one of the richest athletes in the world betting with me. But the problem with that is, of course, I thought about the ulterior of, being that he's such a big athlete and such a big name, it might draw eyes on me. So here I am. I look at the guy's account. He's down like $3 million now, and he's wiring $1.3 million to me, asking for more credit, asking for bigger per game. I think I had him at that time at like 20,000 a game. Now he wants to go to 100,000 a game and asking me for another $1 million in credit. And I see that he's down like 2.5 million of a $3 million credit line. So I understand why he wants more room. So I bump him again. I think I'm moving him to like 4 or 5 million now. And, the agreement I made with him at that time was, as long as you can keep sending me wires every few weeks, I don't need you to clear the whole balance. Because he kept saying to me, I can't send, $2 or $3 million at a time. Frankly, I didn't really, care. I mean, he was sending me 500,000 every couple of weeks. So I didn't want to, irritate him. I wanted to keep the relationship going. One of the things I tried to do as a bookmaker was make sure my clients were happy and make it easy for them to continue to wager with me and not put too much pressure. I think some bookmakers, they make people pay in full, or they pressure them to the point where they lose the business. I think the number one thing as a bookmaker that you have to do is build a relationship with the client to where you always keep them having you as number one in their payout structure. And what I mean by that is pay the bookie first, their mortgage, feed their kids second.
So they can always get down.
Yeah.
So they can always get down.
If they can't get down, then you drop from number 1 to number 10 or even less, or to never being paid. And that's exactly what bookmakers do wrong. And when you're in a credit-based business, you have to have the relationship and find that line, because they're going to lie to you. They're going to tell you they have more money than they do. They're going to tell you they're liquid. They're going to tell you all kinds of things. So you have to kind of get to know their bankroll and their situation. And that's what I tried to do as best I could. Of course, it's hard when they're not communicating the truth.
Well, once you got him stuck, I said, once you got him stuck 3-4 million, and he's just sending the money, fuck, it's a lot. He can't get out. Fuck's he going to get out?
No, it's impossible.
It's true. I looked at it as a free roll, Joey.
Yeah, it was a free roll. Yeah.
At that point, yeah, he owed me 4 or 5 million. If he has a good week, he makes $1 million, $2 million. It's going to be hard for him to win 5 or 6 million. Which he did have a week. He won 4.4 million. And I started to worry a little bit, because I'm like, man, if this guy catches a heater, he can win 10 to 12 million.
Right.
But when he won the 4.4, at that point, he owed me like 7 or 8. So it just dropped him down to like 4 million.
Right.
And, I monitored it, but it wasn't anything to really panic about, because he was so bad at gambling, which it ended up going right back the other direction. But the wires just kept continuing. And
before you move on, I just got to ask you one question. At any point when the money was coming out of Shohei Ohtani's account, when you seen it, did you ever think it's Shohei Ohtani betting?
To be honest with you, once the third wire came in, I thought it was for sure Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Because, interpreters don't make that kind of money. And obviously they were ultra tight, like best friends, spending every minute together. I was around. I went to spring training games with these guys. I was in Arizona. I went to casinos afterwards and dicked around the blackjack tables with a few of the players, not Ippei, not Shohei, but, some of the other Angels players. And I was friendly with them. So I would ask them questions. I didn't get into the details of like, hey, is it Shohei? Because they didn't know. In fact, to be honest with you, they didn't know they knew that Ippei got an account with me, but they didn't know to what level it was. And I didn't discuss people's business with other people because, it wasn't their business, number one. Number two, I didn't really want people to know. At the end of the day, I knew that would get out and that would be bad for me. So I kept it pretty hush hush. And what happened was, as the numbers got higher and higher, I started to realize, okay, I wanted to know without asking. I never wanted to really ask. You know those things in life where you want to know an answer, but you're kind of afraid of the answer.
Yeah.
Right.
That was what I was dealing with. So the way I kind of figured out what was going on is I went to a spring training game and Shohei was pitching that day. And I was sitting there literally, the best seats in the house, just watching the game. And I look at my website on my phone and I see bets are coming in while he's on the mound.
Okay.
And that's when I knew, okay, either they're partners on the account, they're splitting it, or he's still putting in bets for him, or obviously he's not betting at all. And I still didn't know, but that's the factual basis that I do know that, Shohei wasn't himself putting the bets in.
Yeah.
To this day, there's still a big question mark of did he know? I believe he knew that his friend had a gambling issue. I believe he helped him a little bit. I don't know to what extent. That's just my belief. Obviously, if you watch, there's a 12-minute interview with Shohei speaking in Japanese with a new translator saying that he has zero knowledge. But there's also a 90-minute interview that has not been aired that Tisha Thompson from ESPN had with Ippei Mizuhara the night before this broke, and the Dodgers came in and shut the whole thing down and changed his narrative, which was Shohei sent the first wire. He was well aware of it and was, had knowledge of it. So there's still a little gray area there for me. But I do believe deep down in my heart that Shohei Ohtani did not make any bets. I do believe that.
Well, Joe, what a good friend that Shohei was to the interpreter. I mean, he sent 500,000 first wire for him.
I wish I was his fucking interpreter. See if you get me a job now. I go to Japanese class right now.
Yeah. I mean,
You and I both, Joey.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Fuck. God bless him.
You're talking about $40.2 million he bet through my website, $326 million in volume, and he lost $40.2 million. He paid 16.2. He owes $24 million to this day, which I'll never see, of course.
Yeah.
But he's sitting in federal prison right now in Pennsylvania for 57 months, which is terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really sad. I mean, he had a gambling problem, and to let things get this out of control. And I try to explain this to people who gamble will understand it. The ones who don't will never understand it. If you are a degenerate gambler, which I am, I know the feeling. I know what it's like I had access to money. So it was easy for me to lose and then recover because I had a great business. But if you have access to money and you don't have the income or don't have the backup, you could easily dig a hole of this magnitude because you're chasing money. You're trying to win it back. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to win. I'm just going to pay it back. I'm only borrowing it for a little while. And then that number gets bigger and bigger. And then now it's so absurd. Let's just say for argument's sake, he owed $5 million. I mean, what's the point? You dip in for another $5 million just to try to win back the $5 million. You're already screwed. I mean, you can't pay $5 million. I mean, you're an interpreter. You make $250,000 a year. So even though it makes no sense that everyone thinks, oh, this is crazy. And yeah, it is crazy. It's wild what happened. But any degenerate gambler, this could easily happen to.
Well, like you just said, you're a degenerate gambler. Now, you know that you have a wire coming in every month. Let's just say you're going to walk away with $2 million. So I'm sure you were going to the casino, right? I mean, how much money did you lose? What was it like for you in the casinos?
Well, listen, I've been a degenerate. I've been firing since I was 16 years old through bookmakers, which is why I became a bookie. I used the theory of if I can't beat it, I'll join it. And then I still couldn't beat it, but at least I had a business feeding my passion. I love sports. I love gambling. It's the most scary combination a person like me could ever have. I've never done cocaine in my life because if I did one line, I would do a whole mound. That's my personality. And gambling for me was the most I could bet. I want to get down as much as I possibly could. So when I had, a great business, I was going to Vegas every few weeks with $1 million, $2 million. But once I had this backup as well, where I was getting 500K almost every week or two, I started really going to Vegas with 2-3 million.
Of course.
And all throughout the country, really. So I lost 13 million at Resorts World in about a year and a half, which is the worst run I've ever had. I mean, I'm 50 years old. So from 21 to 48, which is when I had to quit gambling, when I got raided by the feds, that 27-year period, I started obviously at 21 betting, bringing, 50K, 100K, because I was making good money then, to where my tail end of my career was $2 or $3 million every 2 weeks. I was on a plane flying, on their planes across the country. And that was the worst run I ever had. I beat Cosmo for $5.5 million. I beat a Ocean Sun Casino in Panama for $4 million. So I've had some good runs.
That's a nice score, yeah.
Those are good, but for every good score, I can give you 3 bad scores because at the end of the day, I lost. I'm not going to sit here and claim I won.
God bless you, Fire. And listen, it's funny you said that. You know how many guys are in jail for gambling?
Oh gosh! So you know how many people, Joey, have been calling me? I mean, you've been there, but
listen, we robbed an armored truck. The next day, I went to Vegas and lost all the money for gambling. Like a guy will be in jail, just say, he sold drugs. He's not a drug dealer. He took a shot to make quick money to go gamble. Gambling's like drug. It's an addiction. It's bad. Look at Snuff.
Well, it's actually worse because you can hide it. The addiction is hidden, and you see a drug addict on the street. I mean, he's slurring, he's walking funny. I mean, he's falling down, he's a mess, right? But a gambler could be walking the streets and have $1 million on a football game and look at his phone. You think he's just texting somebody? He's really sweating a game for $1 million.
Yeah.
It's probably money he doesn't even have. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, Joey, because in the last years when I opened my Instagram account, I never had social media. Because I was an illegal bookmaker and didn't want to flash my lifestyle. I was trying to hide it as much as I could, even though it was chaotic. And in the last year, I've received probably 60, 70 people that have DM'd me that are going to prison for a gambling problem.
Yeah.
And they stole money from their relatives or their companies or wherever. And they've reached out to the point where they're like, hey, just trying to get some help and advice, which is not that I can help them much. But I've seen how bad it is. You're right. They're just stealing because they're feeding this habit.
Yeah.
And now that gambling's been legal since 2018, you're going to see more gambling cases and fraud cases in the history in the next 10 years.
Listen,
and on top of it, the casino gets rid of you.
The fucking parlays, you see these kids? I'm talking about 13-year-old kids. They're all betting parlays. Listen, fucking Wagner's kid, I went to the baseball game with him. He said, give me your social security number. I said, for what? He said, I want to open an account. Account for what? To bet a parlay. Fucking 13.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, they're going to, listen to me. Parlays are the new crack. It's the new crack. And listen, they got girls betting them, guys, grandmothers, everybody. Everybody's addicted to it. It's a fucking addiction. They passed the law. They passed the law with something. I don't know what circuit it was. One of them. It's the same as being a gambling degenerate is the same as being a drug addict. I got 2 years for making. I got 2 years for making a bet. I'm the only motherfucker in the world went to jail for making a bet. If they had to put everybody in jail, that made a bet, they had to put a fucking fence around the whole country.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
especially on a credit-based bookmaker. I mean, that argument is always going to be there. People who gamble daily. For example, I live in California. I couldn't even bet on a spread, so you have to find a bookmaker. And there's 11 states that have that. And even if in states that it is legal. I mean, who wants to drive over to some hub and deposit cash, give them their social security, or use their debit or credit card? They're hiding it from their wife.
Yeah.
Who wants to pay taxes on money gambling when they know at the end of the year you're going to lose anyway?
Right.
And then at the end of the day, it's a financial colonoscopy just to open an account with DraftKings or FanDuel.
Oh, they're the worst. Them motherfuckers want everything.
They do. They want your blood type. They want to know
everything.
Your penises. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Matt,
I tried to open 3 accounts. They denied me immediately.
Is it because you're a felon?
No, I'm barred. I'm not allowed no casino. In Atlantic City, I'm barred. Pennsylvania, I'm barred. Florida, I'm barred. Fucking nuts.
Are you barred for counting or because you're a felon?
No. They said Atlantic City, I was 18. I was the youngest guy ever barred. They said I'm undesirable. Fuck's undesirable. They got people. I thought because I was a felon. They got felons working in there, and I ain't allowed to fucking go in there. That's a disgrace. They hate us. That's the bottom line.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
at the end of the
start
day, if
winning
you're
the
running a
casino, they get rid of you.
you should want any business. So what does it
Yeah.
matter what people do? Like, they're gambling, you know?
That's what I
Listen,
don't get.
if I owned the casino, I would let me and all my friends in, and at the end of the year, give them half their money back that they lost, and you still win.
And you still win.
You still win. That's how
You're
dumb
right.
they. That's how dumb they are.
I feel like I'm in the movie. I think it's Casino where they hide the jewels, right? And they take them to Vegas.
There we go. Beautiful.
I mean, that's what worried me, because it turns out Nikki was about to be sent to Vegas.
All right, we're clear.
Look at this piece. Wow. What's the price tag on something like this?
So this one here happens to be a lab-grown diamond. This one's $7,500. If this was a mine diamond, it would probably be $300,000.
Listen, you heard it. If you ain't shopping at Bucci's jewelry store, you already know you're an absolute bed bug.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Matt, let me ask you a question. When everything came out, do you think because Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was involved in this, do you think that's why you got raided by the feds? Or you think it was just coming regardless?
No, I know for a fact that's not why.
Okay.
I thought when the feds came, when 29 agents showed up at my at my house in my driveway with AR rifles, I thought for sure that was why they were here. The reality was they were here because of the casinos and the KYC rule not being enforced, and all the money laundering and all the activity that was going through the casinos. Which I don't blame the casinos. If I own one, obviously you'd have to comply with the laws and the rules, but I understand why they were looking the other way. They clearly they're getting a ton of business from people in the gray area, people in the weed business, people selling drugs, people, bookmakers, anyone who's really in the gray area are the ones that gamble more than the ones who are not. At the end of the day, that's reality. So, when you have a bookmakers, in fact, I know 50 bookmakers in California alone. I would say half of them go to Vegas with big numbers. Not anymore. They can't. But when I say big numbers, I mean $200,000 to $500,000, and they fire, and they're their best customers because they like to gamble and they have money. Now those clients are no longer welcome because the KYC rule, because of the government is enforcing it on the casinos, and they're fining them drastic amounts of money. But that's where this started, really. It all came through Resorts World. The president got fired and released and fined, and now those casinos are under a massive investigation, which is why my case is still ongoing. I advanced my sentencing so I can move on with my life and try to make money legally and feed my family, and not sit here just waiting for the prosecution to continue to mold up a case and go after the casinos, which is really what's happening. And I advanced all that, and I'm going to do my time. And at the end of the day, I think I'll be out of prison when this thing is still going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What's the biggest bet you ever made on a football game? Yourself being a degenerate.
It was only getting bigger, but great question. 2023 Super Bowl, I bet 4.2 million on the Kansas City Chiefs. And then when they were down at halftime, I bet another 400,000 because that's all I could get down. That's all I had and all I could get a hold of with bookmakers. So 4.6 million. So that was a roughly $9.5 million swing because there was a small dog on the money line for me, which is the biggest bet I've ever had in my life by far.
Yeah, you got that fucking flag at the end against the Eagles. I lost that. We had the Eagles. Yeah.
Everybody had the Eagles.
Yeah, that was a blessing. I mean, let's be honest, the Eagles should have won.
Yeah.
And when Mahomes hobbled into halftime, people ask me all the time, why would you bet another 400,000 on a team that you thought Chad Henne was coming out? I said, because I was already a dead duck. The 4.2, I kind of lit on fire. So I'm like, you know what? What's 400 more thousand? I'm already going to be screwed. When I get home, I'm going to have to pay all these bookmakers I owe money to. I'm probably not going to have it all, to be frank with you. And I'm going to have to go make some payment plans and deal with it, because I fired every bookmaker I could in the country. And I fired 1.25 million at the Bahamas, Atlantis Casino. That's what they took from me there, which I have the tickets on my website to prove it. And so I fired there, and then I had to call every bookmaker to get the rest down. And then at halftime, I had no more money at the casino, so I couldn't bet second half there. So I started calling bookies and just firing as much as they would take on the second half, knowing that probably I'm going to lose. Let's be real. If Mahomes wasn't playing, they were going to get smoked.
Of course.
Chad Henne. But I got lucky. He came out I'm sure they shot him up at halftime, and he came out like he really is truly one of the best quarterbacks, in my opinion. I mean, he's pretty amazing. But I got lucky. And then the next year, I was sitting on the sidelines under a federal investigation, and definitely didn't bet $1, which was very interesting to watch the Chiefs lose to the 49ers, or beat the 49ers, excuse me. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
We were there. We were in Vegas for that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But gambling's going to be legal in every state eventually. I mean, why California and other places don't have it makes no sense to me. I mean, it just doesn't.
Well, it's the Indian casinos are fighting.
Right.
That's all it is here in California, at least. But you are correct. Within 2027, there's no doubt that every state it'll be legal. I actually met a high executive. I'm not going to say her name. They can figure it out because it's a girl of a very prominent company that is a legal sports book at a Bel Air Country Club playing golf about 6 months ago. And she said to me that there's no doubt by 2027, they'll have everything cleared on the ballot for California. She anticipating maybe even 26. That tells you where this is going. I mean, they can't just watch all these other states make all this money and they're going to sit in the sidelines.
Listen, they're going to have it in the stadiums. Watch. I think it's only 2 states, Utah and another one, where they don't have lottery and something. I'd say only states ain't going to have gambling. You go in the stadium, you go in the seat, you bet the fucking game, you can bet live bets, everything. It's fucking crazy. They want to put us in jail. They're making $9 billion.
No doubt. And the thing is, they're going to make it so convenient and so easy that you're almost going to feel like, you have to bet on a game. I mean, even if it's $10, like a person sitting in a seat, that once you bet $10, or it doesn't matter what the amount is, and you feel that dopamine rush.
Yeah.
Even if you're not really a gambler, I think that's going to hook people in to maybe not being total degenerates, but to where they're going to enjoy it. Because let's be honest, you enjoy the experience that much more. We all do when you bet. And so you take like a teacher who's a mom of 3 who has no intention to gamble and now puts a $10 parlay in. You're going to suck her into every time she goes to a damn game. She's going to bet $10 on a parlay, So you multiply that times 8 billion people, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Listen,
Yeah, it really is.
The other day, everybody bet. The other day, I was at the steak shop. My friend Anthony's daughter, she works for us, Anthony Soul's daughter. She came out. She said, could I have your name and social security number? I thought she was inviting me to something. I said, for what? She says, this was Saturday. She said, I want to open an account. An account? I said, where? FanDuel. She said, I'll give you the money. I'll put it up. I said, if you could get me an account, I'll give you $300. They won't give me one. I said, what do you? She said, I want to bet Alabama. I love them. She said, I'll give you half the money. I said, I can't open one. I'm trying. I said, listen, don't gamble, please. She's 15. She wants to open her own account to fucking bet. Listen, every kid, I'm telling you, it's going to be the biggest addiction thing. It's going to be worse than the crack. Watch.
Yeah. I've been gambling since I'm 10 years old. I mean, that's just how I was raised.
Look how you fucking wind it up. Yeah, me too. Look at me. Look how we wind it up.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like it wasn't like go to fucking Disney World. It was let's go to the turf club.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You're around the racetracks. I was too.
Yeah.
I was raised at 12 years old. I was going to La Salle and Santa Anita, and we gambled. My family gambled on Yahtzee and fucking Sega Genesis. It didn't matter. We'd run a 40-yard dash for money.
Yeah, it don't matter.
We played tackle football in the park, and what team's going to win for $10? We didn't give a shit. We gambled on everything. But Joey, I got to ask you a question. The girl was right. Alabama was an upset. Did she get down in the game?
She said no, but she probably did. Yeah, Alabama killed them, right?
Yeah,
they won the game. She was right,
and they were a dog. And actually, that's exactly what would happen. You sucker a girl in, 15-year-old girl. She bets on a team, and of course they win. The first bet wins, and it sucks you right in, which is really what happened to me in Vegas too.
No, it's how they get. Listen, these are kids, 13, 14 years old. They're betting. Like you said, $10 bet, 20. Listen, how about what they do? If you make a $10 bet, they send you a $300 bet. They're baiting you in. If we do that,
at the end of the day, they're getting it all.
If we do that, we'll get 9,000 fucking years. That's like a drug dealer saying, listen, try my drugs, only buy $5 worth, and I'm going to give you $100 for nothing of free drugs. Once they get you hooked, it's over. They know what the fuck they're doing. If we did that, it's over with. You get the electric chair.
Yep. It's a dopamine rush that once you give that kind of rush to somebody, it's like, I mean, I've never done heroin, but everyone tells me, heroin's one of the best highs in the world for a drug, right? Like, and that's why they chase it and they can't get off of it. Gambling is no different, man. And if you have that dopamine rush, I mean, like I explain to people all the time, you're having the best sex of your life with the most beautiful girl and, the moments of ecstasy of that, times that by 5. when you're betting huge amount of money on a football or baseball game or whatever the event is. And when you win, even when you lose, actually, sadly, that rush still is there. I mean, nobody likes to
It's
lose.
still there. Yeah, it's still there.
But it's there, and,
No,
it's there to the point where you want to go back and do it again because you want to get the damn money back. It's almost worse, which people don't understand that. But once you're in there and you're feeling that high, it's pretty scary.
It's going to be
Matt,
the
what's
worst.
the most
it's
you
going to
ever
be
got?
the worst epidemic ever. Watch in like 5-6 years from now. Watch.
I agree.
I agree.
What's the most you ever got cracked for taking bets?
You know, I got beat up by these three group of, they're probably worth about 700 million at the time. My first experience of learning a big, strong lesson as a bookmaker of not betting or not taking bets with the right bankroll. They beat me for 5.7 million. The year that Tom Brady and the New England Patriots won every game on a blowout, but it went Patriots to the over.
Yeah.
Literally, I think out of 16 games, they covered 14 and won by like 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns, a ton of. The spread would be minus 14. They win by 20 at least.
That was the
And
undefeated.
that year,
Was that the undefeated year when they went undefeated?
I think it was actually the year before,
Year
believe it
before.
or not, because the year before is when they really just pounded people on the spread. They weren't as well known. So
Right.
I think the odds makers had it off a little bit, but everyone was just pounding Brady that year. And I just lost every week. I mean, I was taking 300,000, 400,000 from 3 brothers that were betting with me. And I was young. I was like 26 years old. So I had to take every dollar out of my house of equity. I had to borrow money from all my friends. I liquidated everything I could. I paid them. And then I was $440,000 short. And there's a part of my book that I talk about this story where I had to go to other bookmakers and give away half of I gave away my business really to take half. 50% half sheet is what we negotiated. They lent me the 440 so I could pay, because you guys know this more than anything. Your reputation is everything as a bookmaker. And I had to pay the customers. And so I paid them. And I moved my entire business to an operation in Costa Rica. And it was rough. But this is the first moment of my life that I realized, okay, you can't book. Even though I knew people will lose over time, you have to have the bankroll to survive the bets.
Yeah, you got to have the bankroll.
Right.
Yeah, and I made that cardinal sin. So here's the part of the story that I talk about in my book that, because in my book, Recalibrate, I do talk about it's not all the highs. It's not all how great the lifestyle was. It's some of the lows and dark moments that I put myself in, having a gun pointed at me with a guy that I was trying to collect from, or going down to Costa Rica and having these guys with shotguns because they were in the jungle. They weren't in the city in San Jose. And bookmakers in Costa Rica do have to. In fact, one of them was killed. The guy for 5 dimes was kidnapped and killed. They have to worry about being safe and protected because, let's be real, it's a poor country. And you see these American bookmakers that are worth, $1 billion or even more. And long story short, I went over there, sat down with these guys, gave them my package, moved over all my business. And then I went home and I said to myself, what the fuck am I doing, man? I'm giving away 50% of this lucrative business. But they helped me. They gave me the 440 to pay the customers, and I was broke. So I did exactly what I shouldn't have done, which worked out. I started firing on accounts. And
and get 50% back.
Yep. And I caught a heater, and I won literally 1.5 million in 1 week. Betting 100,000 a game was the max they allowed me. And I caught a heater, and then they called me out on it. They checked the IP address. They saw it was from me. So I had to fly down to Costa Rica, and they tried to put pressure on me to cave and say it was me. I, of course, lied to their face and said it wasn't me. I was putting it in for these guys, these same billionaire brothers, which was all bullshit. And they were literally arguing with each other to the point where one was saying, fuck this kid, we're not paying him shit. The other one was like, we took the bets, we got to pay it. They were literally arguing. And I finally just stood up to them and said, listen, man, you got a few options. You could take me in the fucking field and just blow me, put a gun to my head, whatever you want to do. You could stiff me, which I'm going to go home and tell the whole world that you guys don't pay, or you could pay me. And those are 3 options. You guys choose. I'm tired of sitting here watching you guys argue about this. So I went home, and it was a crazy thing. They didn't tell me what they were going to do. They said, well, we're going to talk about it. I landed in LAX. My buddies picked me up, and they said, call this number when you land, and we'll tell you what we decide. And I called, and then they said, get off on Hawthorne Boulevard. I'll never forget it. I pulled in this parking lot. It was like a CVS. And some guy came over and threw me a bag for $960,000 and said, we're done with you, kid. Take your fucking players and get the fuck out of here.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, so that was a moment where doing the wrong thing ended up working out. and I took my business back, and I never looked back from that moment since, and never booked over my head, really. I bet over my head. I never booked over my head.
Yeah.
Matt, see if you get me an account.
Yeah, well, you told me you're no good, though. We got to at least make sure you're on the sharp side.
Yeah.
Fucking can't pick a fucking winner.
Matt,
Listen, if I don't bet, I swear I don't even watch it. Like I haven't been bet, so I don't even watch the fucking thing. If it's on, it's on. I don't even know.
Well, that's kind of my point earlier, right? That's the problem. The dopamine rush of gambling, makes everything much more entertaining. If you took away gambling, period, all these sporting, these deals they have with the TV rights and everything, it would be down to literally 20% of what it is today.
100%.
Nobody watch it. Nobody will watch it. I'm serious.
No, I totally agree with you. And they know that, and that's why they're smart, and they're making it legal, and they're taking advantage of it. But what they don't realize is they're ruining lives across the country, which is fine. I get it. They want to make money, but they got to control it better. I don't even know what that answer is, but some of these young kids, it's going to be a problem. I mean, I have a 22-year-old daughter. I have a 26-year-old daughter, and we always have their friends come over, and when they have, let's say, 10 friends over, 4 or 5 dudes, all I see them is gambling, right? Of course. And they're legal. They're allowed to gamble. And I ask them, I'm like, hey, man, how much do you bet? And they're like, oh, we'll fire $100 here, $100 there. And I'm like, well, obviously you lose. So where do you get the money? And they're like, we're in college. We'll take it from our parents or this or that. So I already see the development of the problems occurring. So let's fast forward to when they're 30 and they have their first kid and they're getting married and they have their first career job. Let's say they're loan brokers for mortgages or whatever. All that's going to do is be 10x what they're doing now. And the problems are going to be 10x because they're going to get divorced. They're going to have a gambling problem to the point where they lose everything. I'm not saying all of them, but
of course. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. That's what happens.
It's going to be a disaster. And that's when this gambling epidemic is going to be really prevalent 5 years from now.
100%. Listen, they're the biggest hypocrites. Look what they did to Pete Rose. Look what they did to Pete Rose. Now if you watch a baseball,
Pete Rose he was my client.
Yeah, if you watch a baseball game now, they advertise for FanDuel. They're the biggest hypocrites. They're making hundreds of billions of dollars. There's hundreds of billions of dollars involved. It's fucking nuts.
And let's talk about this. Here's people asking me this all the time. Why don't you just move to Nevada and be a bookmaker there? I said, well, guess what? It'd be no different. Even though it's legal in Nevada, they would never give me a license. They'll only give it to a conglomerate corporation.
Yep.
And even though I can run a perfect sports book better than FanDuel and DraftKings, in my opinion, because I know exactly what I'm doing. I know how to incentivize players and actually give them a chance. I mean, because at the end of the day, everyone's going to lose. So why not actually make it to where, it's more affordable for them? And what I mean by that is I would give away more than what they give away, to be honest, because give them a bigger kickback at the end of the year. Give them 30% back, whatever. At the end of the day, I mean, they're going to lose. So keep them around as opposed to just drilling them to death. But my point is they'll never give a license to, Skinny or Lil Snuff or Matt. No chance.
We're
and
dead.
They don't make it fair. I mean,
the only thing they want to do with the only thing they'll do with us is want to put us in jail. That's it. They fucking hate us. You'll never get a fucking license. I seen a thing. I was a fan. One of them big companies. Nobody bets straight bets no more. Except like so they made $98 billion in parlays last year. In parlays, they're burying people.
Yeah.
Show me a parlay, I'll show you a loser.
Yeah. You got one right next to you. Snuff.
That's a fact.
Fucking Snuff. He loves parlays.
So all I do is bet parlays. That's it.
I mean, listen, I understand it, but you take a small amount of money, let's call it, or whatever, and make a large amount, but. You can't pick 3 or 4 winners in a row. It's so
tough.
impossible.
No, it's tough. Of course.
It's hard enough to pick one winner.
Yeah, one.
It's hard enough to pick a minus 280 that's going to win. Then pick a plus 280. You know what I mean? So, but
look at last night. The Packers. I mean, they were a 6.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
And they tied. I mean, at least if you had the money line, you wouldn't have lost. But still, I mean, it's impossible.
Yeah, Matt, we appreciate you coming on. Make sure, though, when your reporter, you come home, we all get together, give us an update. We'll have you back on the podcast, and we'll talk about your experience in the camp.
Yeah,
I'd love to. I know it's nothing as serious as Joey went through, but, at the end of the day, I'm definitely going to write a book while I'm in there about my experience and, come out and what I'm building with my book and just everything I'm doing. I have a big future ahead of me, but that being said, I'd love to come back on the show with you guys and talk about it.
100%. Listen, send Snuff your number. We'll send you commissary. This is the best thing that happened. I'm telling you, you're going to jail for 3 months. You're going to love it. You'll be in Aruba. You'll be ripped up.
I'm excited to get in shape.
Yeah.
I'm excited to kind of, have a new little adventure, so to speak. But of course, the hard part for me is just I have a 4-year-old boy.
Yeah, what a fact. Yeah,
for my wife.
That's right. Couple of visits, you'll be home. You'll be home with a couple of visits.
Exactly.
You got this, my
That's
brother.
right.
Anything you need, let us know.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
Matt.
you guys.
God bless.
Episode 107, The Skinny with Joey Merlino, our good friend Matt. This episode sponsored by Skinny Joey's Cheesesteaks, 3020 South.
Wait, hold on, Snuff, before we end. Matt, give us your Super Bowl pick, because you won't be here. You'll be in jail.
Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
Who are they going to play?
Wow, that's tough.
Eagles
of
at Detroit?
Size, shit. I don't think it'll be Detroit. Their defense looks tough. I mean, it looks beat up. Excuse me, man.
I have
NFC
Buffalo
side.
and the Rams win it all. That's what I bet.
Really? Well, the Rams look pretty good too. I just think Buffalo has it all. I know their defense is a little suspect, but I think they have it all this year. And I know Josh Allen. I played golf with him. Great kid, man. I root for him anyway. But I think this is their year. I really do. NFC side, I don't know. That's tough. I don't have a standout for me on the NFC side at all.
Don't forget,
like you, Joey,
don't forget my Eagles.
So I don't really, Eagles are tough.
They're tough.
Actually, that's probably the team I would pick that would be there.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, my brother. Episode 107, The Skinny with Joey Merlino. See you next time.
Thank you, Matt.
Peace, guys. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Life is a casino. We don't sing, we just hit them off with C-notes. And you can bet it all. I'ma be the last one standing tall. Joey Merlino.
What's up, DG?
Life is a casino. We don't sing, we just hit them off with C-notes. And you can bet it all. I'ma be the last one standing tall. Joey Merlino.
With Joey Merlino.